guys, this is Ali. This is for everybody in the front-end web app team of SIG Web. I wanted to make a quick video of the stuff that we were supposed to go over last meeting. But again, I was having some errors. Again, everything seemed to be working on my laptop before the meeting, and for some reason during the meeting, just everything went haywire again. It's almost like somebody's plotting against me or something. I don't know, but hopefully this will be one of the last videos I make to you guys. Have faith in me for one more week. I'm gonna try to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Gonna do everything in my power to make sure we start right away as soon as I get there for the front end, and we'll do some cool stuff hopefully. But for now, I want to go over some of the things that we were supposed to do last meeting. Um, I opened up a LOLO page. I've just copied the front end web app in the modified branch. So I have just cloned this for now. So this is a fresh load of that clone. Um, and then we have the LOLO here open. Let's close that. Okay. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is clean up some of our code. I realize that a lot of the JavaScript files here are in the app folder, but usually the scripts is where all the JavaScript goes into. So we're going to move the controllers, and we got the controllers there. Do we have any other JavaScript files? Images, templates? No. But since this is in controllers now, what we have to do is go to index, and in our down here in the controllers, we have to just do scripts slash controllers. I think you can just leave this be. Okay, so let's see if everything was still the same. Okay, good. And then the next thing we're going to clean up is this angular.module. Now, we're calling it angular.module, and we're specifying that we're using the app module that we named it app. This would be perfectly fine if we were using multiple modules and we would have to specify which module we're going with in each JavaScript file. But since we're all going to be using the same module, at least for now, um, we don't to not declare this everywhere like angular.module here everywhere. We're just going to create a simple variable that holds this. So we're going to create var app equals angular.module. So this app is going to hold the dependency and everything too. So now we can just do app.config, and this will work the same way. So now in our home controller, we don't have to specify this anymore. We just do app.controller and app.controller. So so now this works. That's awesome. Also in our templates, we have our home. Let's get rid of everything. We have practiced it a little bit. If you watch my other video, you'll see how I got to that point. But we don't need it anymore, so we'll clear everything. So what we're going to do is create a small mailing list. And what I'm going to do is, instead of doing the home page, I'm going to do mailing list here. And then in our home, we'll do h1 and then title. So why we're doing that is because mailing list is something that you're going to get some data and then spit it out and then make some adjustments to it. And usually things that gets and sets data into your application, you use a service for it. So in here we have a controller, and we can call the built-in HTTP um, dependency here, the HTTP built-in dependency here, and do the http.get, which is just getting the material data from wherever we specify it in, and we can do it all here. That's perfect. But usually the convention of doing it is the controller matches you up the HTML with some services or directives in the back. So controllers doesn't serve really as a data um, bank. It serves as a midway, like middleware between the HTML and all of the services that you have. So if you had a mailing list service, you would connect it in here. If you had an event service where you had displayed a list of events, that you would have a service, and you would connect it in the controller. So we're going to create a simple mailing service that's going to print all of the data out. Now, I've also added this JSON file. This is the name, first name, last name, and email of some of you guys in the club. I pulled it out of the contacts list in the MailChimp. We're going to get the data from here and spit it out, and then be able to adjust it and work on it a little bit. So what we're going to do is create a service. So what we first need to do is, you know what, we'll start by making a simple table. So we have our mailing list right now here, and then we'll create a simple table, and the table will have a t head. And you know what, the table is going to have a class, and we're going to use Bootstrap here a little bit, and we're just going to write table dot dash striped, and this is a Bootstrap thing. So we're specifying that it's a table to Bootstrap, and then we're specifying that it has a style of striped, and you'll see how that looks when we get everything started. So we have t head, and then in the head we have headers, first name, last name, okay, and then th, email address, okay, and then we have a t body, and in our t body we have, oops, I always does that. We have some rows, and inside of that row we have some td. I don't know why it also goes into a new line. Using emmet for auto completion, but it always throws me into the new line. I don't want that. We don't really need that. So we just, okay, so this is the basic structure. We'll fill it out, and then we'll make it work once we create the service. So how we're going to start is in our scripts folder, we have controllers. So we're going to create a new folder here called services. And in our scripts, we're going to have services folder. And in the folder, we're going to create mailing list.js. Now, we didn't call it mailing list service.js. And the reason why is the naming convention for services is that you have a capital letter between the on all of the words inside this service, like inside here. So when you see a capital M and a capital L here, it's automatically known. This is an Angular way of doing it. Is that this is a service, so that instead of writing mailing the service, event service, login service, instead of doing all of these writing service after another, they made a naming convention so you can know, well, okay, the way that this is named, this is a service. In the same way here, you do CTRL, you know this is a controller. Um, so in here we have the mailing list, nothing is there. So now we do app, which pulls up that app module, and there's different types of services. If you want a service to connect, if you want a service to just get and set some data, you use a different type of service. If you use a service that connects different services to another, you can also do that. I know controller can do that too, but also services can do that. If you want the service to run like, get and set some data, but then do something additional to that, you have a different type of service. So what we're going to do is called a service type factory. I think it's a small, yeah. And a factory works in it's the same way as a singleton. If you don't know much about it, just pull up singleton things. Like all of the higher level programming languages have the singleton thing where um, you're not um, declaring, you're not creating an object again and again in all of your pieces of code. It's declared only once in the global scope, and then you can, iterate it throughout your code. But you don't have to create it over and over and over. So, and in factory is a singleton that also has just a get and set thing. So in our factory, we have to name it first. So we're going to name it mailing list service. This doesn't matter, you can name it anything. And then it's gonna have a callback function, right? And then if you know, anytime that you have something that ends with a function, this function is a callback function. That after all of these dependencies, we call back some function at the end. And app.factory always at the end returns something, so we're going to do return. Okay. And what we need to do is inject the HTTP into here. But you remember that we from the last video that I did, I talked a little bit about dependency annotation. So when we minify our code, the code doesn't disappear. So we're going to just annotate our code, and then we need the HTTP as a dependency in there, and then the dependency over here. So we're going to return http.get, which is a built-in thing, and http.get is going to look at api/contacts.json. All right. So we're gonna look at that, and then once we go and get the stuff, the response, we're going to throw it into a function, and we're just going to return that function. Now we're going to parse the response a little bit because the response has the data in it. The response has a header in it, which specifies that it's a JSON file. The response has the type of HTTP, which is the get. It has all of these things. So we just want the response.data. So we have that just the data. We don't want all of the other stuff that we were dealing with. So return, close, return here, return response.data. Okay. So our service is done. It has a get. Here we haven't specified something. So we haven't specified a variable get. Okay. So we haven't done that. So let's do that. Let's take this code out. So in our return, we have to specify get, which is a function. And in here, we do this. And if this works, it shouldn't throw any errors. Okay. It was throwing an error before. So I think, yeah, it was throwing their unexpected token. Yeah. So we have some get function. So get variable. It's actually variable, but it's used as a function now. And in the get function, we return the http.get. http.get goes into it, pulls up a response, and then we return the response.data. So if you had different functions, you would have a get, and then you would have a set here. But since JSON is just a file and it's not a PHP file that goes into a database that we can get and set to, we just have the get right now. So this should work perfect. And then in here, we're going to have scope as a dependency, and we're going to have mailing list service as a dependency, and we're also going to have it here. So, okay, doesn't like that. Oh, okay, here. Okay, we forgot the comma there. Okay, so we're going to call the mailing list service, and we're going to call that get function, right? And the get function is going to return response.data. It's going to return some array to us of all the, it's going to return an object. Yeah, it's going to return an object that has first name, last name, and email. That is an array of first name, last name, and email. So we have .get, so we're going to get that data. And then we're going to have a function that takes that data, inject it into a function, and we're just going to call scope.contacts, just like how we did scope.title. So scope.title was is a method in the object, and we just named it a mailing list string. But in scope.contacts, it's going to be equal to data, which is going to be an array. So in here, scope.title is some string, but in scope.contacts, it's going to be an array of things. So scope.contacts equals data. Okay, so now we can populate you know how like we have done title here, we can populate our table with the people that we have. So in our tr, if we're going to do ng.repeat, and if you watched my last video, you would know what ng-repeat is. It's just a for each loop that you would see in like all of the high level programming languages. So we're going to do contact in contacts. So for each contact in contacts, we're going to have a column for contact dot first name, and you know what, I won't be lazy. Contact dot last name and contact dot email address. Okay, save this and you repeat. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so if we have any error, do we save all? Save all. Oh, okay. Um, So we haven't specified the service in our index, so we go down here, and I'll just copy this. And it's not controllers now, it's services, right? Services. And it's going to be mailing list.js. Oh wow, okay, awesome. Boom, so we have the mailing list, we have a table. Now the style of the table is by Bootstrap, and then all of this data is getting pulled by the service, the mailing list service, and then we're parsing the data into the scope.contacts object, and we're populating using the ng-repeat directive. Awesome, so like everybody shows up. If you see your name, awesome, my name is here, and then Jay's name and last name is here. Um, a lot of people didn't have their first name and last name, just had an email address, and I wanted it to look nice. So if you're missing here, it doesn't mean that I don't have you as a contact. It's just your first name and last name is not in my thing. Um, so let's we created the table, so let's create a remove button that can remove each of these things out of the list. So to do that, we have, you know what, let's do another TD, and it's gonna throw us to another line again. Okay. So in our TD, we'll create some button name, but okay, we don't need the name. It's gonna be a type button, but we're going to make it look nice with some bootstrap. Bootstrap is button, and then we'll do button.danger for making it look red and stuff. Okay, so remove. Okay, so if we save this, fresh. Okay, so it has a remove button. Now it doesn't work yet, so we're going to create the functionality for it. So what I'll do is right here where I'll call an ng-click directive, and ng-click is just like the on-click. You see like on-click here. It's the same thing that it works the same way as the on-click function that you usually get in like HTML. But ng-click makes sure that this click function, whatever we're going to do remove function here, whatever, and we're going to pass the contact. Now this remove function will run along with all of the Angular code so that we don't have any chance of running this onClick function before and after our Angular code has loaded. So this will always work. This click function will always work, where onClick might not work sometimes because it will load either before or after or not around the same time that the Angular stuff is. So we want to keep everything in this Angular framework per se. We don't want anything that we're doing in the global scope. We want it to be in like this Angular box per se inside like the DOM. Think of DOM as this big box of things, and we don't want anything to escape into the global scope into the DOM. We want to keep everything tightly boxed into the Angular framework. So that's the best way of putting it, I guess. So we call the remove function, but there is no remove function, so let's create that. Scope dot remove equals some function. Can't type. Okay. Scope.remove equals some function, and we go, let me just write it up and then you can see that var index. Okay, so we passed it the contact. We can do contact here, but let's just do .cnt, and this is passing an argument, this argument into the function. Oops, over here. And passing arguments into a function is something that is universal with like mostly all of the codes that I know, at least. So programming languages that I know. So okay, var index is scope.contacts.index of cnt. So now what we're doing is we're passing this contact that we are in, because for each contact, so we're inside one of the contacts in here. But we don't know where in the array that contact is. We don't know if in the array it's number 5, number 0, number 10. We don't know. So we need to get the index of the CNT. So now we know that it's like the 4th one or the 5th one or whatever. And then we just do the scope.contacts.splice. And we're going to splice from index. And we're just going to go splice one up. So splice is a jQuery function. If you go here and you write Google and then do jQuery splice, it's just a regular JavaScript array splicing thing. It might actually even be in you might even be able to do it in like, see fruits.splice, and then you will be able to splice something. So it's nothing with Angular, it's just a JavaScript thing. So if everything, if you don't get any errors or anything, okay, refresh, and then we press the remove, boom, it removes the person that is in that list. Awesome. So we can remove everybody. Everybody get out. That's right. So all right. Okay, so we have the remove. So let's make a add thing here so we can add new people too. So in our here, we'll do like a new, oh my god, I don't know why it does that. Okay, we'll do a new row where we'll do TDs again. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And in our TR, we'll do another TD right here. We'll do, here, we'll create a button somewhere in the bottom here. Type name button. Oops, class button, and then we'll do like maybe button primary here. And we'll do like add new person. Okay, how does that look? Okay, it's gonna like, okay, add new person. Okay, so in the bottom we'll have the add new person. Okay, where am I? Right here. Okay. Okay, so in here, tr, so we'll do for each one, we'll do an input. Type is a text. Don't need the name. And we don't even need value. Okay. And just be lazy and copy this everywhere. Oops, copy the whole input. And then in here we'll create a save button because we need to save it after we put all the text. It is gonna be a button, and we'll do button dot maybe success. It's like nice, and then save. Okay. Oops, not in this one. Okay, so now we're going to be writing something, name, last name, and some email, and then we're going to press save, and it's going to save into. I created this button because what I want to do is, I want to do some jQuery stuff to not have this show up all the time. I want it to come up afterwards. So what I'm going to do is, in here I'm going to do an ID here, and just do an add new ID. And we'll keep it in here. So we'll do script text JavaScript, and then we'll call it a function, and we'll snatch the element add new, and we'll do a hide function. Okay, so if everything works, nope, doesn't work. Add new. Oops, okay, I didn't. Oh no, not the dollar sign. No, not the hashtag. Where are you? Okay. Okay, so it hides when the page loads automatically, but I'm gonna make it show that I'm gonna make it show when you press this. So we'll do an ng click here, and we'll do like add. We'll call the add function, and we'll also do an ng click here, and we'll declare these, and then we'll do save here, and we'll do the add thing first, and then we'll do the save thing. Okay. All right. In here we'll do scope.add equals some function, and in here we can do um, yeah, you know what? I won't be lazy. Add new, right? Was it okay? Dot show. You know what? We'll do dot toggle. That would be nice. Okay, so save it. And when we press it, it toggles on and on. So now you can, when you press add new, you will be able to type in here something and then press the save button. It'll be all good. So, okay, awesome. So in here, I mean, you can make the remove buttons also have like a remove button where it's like all of these buttons show up. And that will probably be like the coolest thing. That will be cooler than just having all of the remove buttons there already. Okay, so we have the add. Let's do the save. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to have to create a new object, and then we can push it into this new scope.contacts, right? We already have scope.contacts, but we need to pass a new array to it. Scope.contacts is an object that has an array that has like first name. We need to pass it the first name, last name, and stuff. So we're going to use .ng.model, and if you watched again my last video, we talked a little bit about data binding, and ng model does a data binding into it data binds whatever you write into the ng model into some object. So that it's so awesome. So then you can just do a new dot first name. So it will data bind new object into some, like it will automatically create some object and have a first name on it, which is awesome. And then we'll be lazy one more time, and we'll copy this, and we'll do last name, and we'll do email address, and we'll pass this into our function, this new object that we created in here, and we'll pass it into our function. So we haven't created save yet. Scope.save equals the function. So all we have to do is now, we got save. We need to, let's do newcnt, new contact. Okay. So we're going to do scope.contacts, and we're going to just do push. So we're going to push a new object into it, and we're just going to push the new contact into it. So if everything works, and we'll be hallelujahing. We press add new person, and we'll do like maybe like John Doe, and then john@gmail.com. Save. Boom. John Doe is in our table. Uh, that one pretty smooth, so I'm happy about that. But thank God no errors right now. So okay, so now we have a functioning mailing list. Now, if we had some PHP with a database back, we would be able to retain this information. So every time we save a new John, oh, you can't even press save again. So I guess you would have to change it. I didn't even make. Oh, it's data binded into here. Oh, so what you probably want to do is you don't want to be able to change this right away. So what you want to do is once you press the save, want to push it, and then maybe we want to, let's see if that's still, if you hide this, does it go Okay, save it, add new person, and then we'll do John Doe, john@gmail.com. Save it. John Doe is still there, so what you can do is in here, after doing that, you can do newcnt dot first name equals that, and then copy this whole thing. Last name, then email address, then we'll hide it. So maybe this will work. Yeah, I didn't realize that you're right. It's like it's doing data binding, so it's not disappearing. Ah, okay. Well, this is something that we'll work on, and then we'll get back to it. It turns it into scope.contacts.push, and then create a new contact, and then it turns into empty. Okay, so if we do John, oh, okay, so because of the data binding, it does that at gmail.com. So if we press save, okay, it makes it empty after pushing it because of the data binding. But we don't want to clear that. So I'll work on this a little bit. I'll push the right one. What we want to do is probably, since it does some, we want to create a new contact at all the time, every time we press the save and we pass it, and then after that it should clear it after pushing it. But if you clear it here, it becomes, since the data binding is happening, it clears it. So I'll work on this and I'll get back to you guys, because you can change it like that. That's not nice. You don't want to be able to do that. You want to create a new thing and then have it closed. So you want to probably clear the input. But even if you clear the input, the ng model is data binded into here. So maybe what we can do is, can we just do contact dot first name and then just pass contact and person. I mean, but it's like taken as new CNT, and then it's pushing that a@gmail.com. Okay, it's pushing that. When you add a new person, it's still there. Okay, it's still there because of the data binding that's happening. So yeah, I will have to work on this. The data, since the data binding is happening, it's still binding the contact dot first name into here. So what we can do is probably um, pass this and then maybe create a new object in here and then clear that and then push that. So maybe we can do scope dot new cnt equals new cnt, and then we'll push that. Now we have to create some variable new cnt, and we'll equal it to, we'll do new c, and then we'll put the new c here. So it should give us still the same effect. Okay, John Doe at gmail.com. Okay, that's given the same effect. But now, after we push this, we can do new C equals some empty string. But that will, the data binding is still happening though. So it'll still be the same thing. That is peculiar. So, anyways, I'll definitely work on this, and I'll explain it more in if you guys find a solution to it, let me know. It's probably just clearing this by data binding into it, just clearing it, um, or having this. I mean, we're pushing a new variable. We're only pushing that, and then we're clearing it. So, um, but the new C is always becoming that. So, um, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna work on this, but pretty much, these are some of the basics of doing it. Uh, After we get this, this little part done, this is pretty much a really nice, mailing list that you can use we can use in our project in the NJIT ACM website, and we can use it, and then what we'll do is have everybody be able to add new people into it, and then send an email using some PHP in the back. So this will be one of the functionalities that we can use in our project, and it's in one page, so the about is still the same, and then contact, we don't have really contacts page here, but so we can have a page where it can go into this mailing list, and we can have like a panel instead of a whole page, and yeah, that will be really nice. So hopefully you guys were able to learn something new. Like I said, have faith in me for one more week. I'm gonna try to provide as much as possible. I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure the next week runs smoothly, the next meeting, and we'll go from there. Okay, thanks, guys.